Hey guys, and welcome to our very first Refuge service live stream. I cannot begin to tell you how bad I miss you. I'm telling you, I miss your hugs, I miss your high fives, I miss Sunday night eating out at places. Hey, just come close to the screen, okay? Here's what we're gonna do. Ready? We're gonna do this, okay? Ready? Let's. Oh yeah, give you a pat there. Oh, that feels great. Okay. Well, man, like I said, I miss you. I don't know when. Listen, I have no idea when we're going to start back our services. I really do not. It could be a month from now. Right now, we're kind of shooting for May. We don't know. And, this is all new territory. So, hang in there with us. We got Sunday school coming. We're fixing to start doing some Sunday, like DT and some small groups. But, guys, this is the deal. You've got to get the Zoom. Okay, you've got to get Zoom, and that's going to be your lifeline to our youth group over the next the month or whatever. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to get the Zoom, and your Sunday night class, Amy and Courtney and Sarah Beth, they're going to Zoom with you guys, and they're going to meet together. Our guys will do the same thing. So in order for us to work together, I want to do that. Well, tonight I want to go and continue what we started a long time ago. It seems like forever we've been going through this, but we've been going through the life of the prodigal son. And remember, we've talked so many times over the last few weeks about that distant mirage. Remember that the image of sin and what it looks like and how that's where we need, we're drawn to that, and that looks good, and that's appealing, and that's something that we desire. And so many times it pulls us away from our Christian walk. So many times that it pulls us away from our life with Christ because of something what we see. Sometimes the life of Christ doesn't seem quite as appealing as that mirage that Satan paints for us. And what we saw in Luke is we saw that he saw that distant city. He saw that good time. He saw the life of the party. He saw all the people, all the friends. And as long as there were money, as long as he had the wealth that he had, as long as he was the center of the party, it was great. Everything was wonderful, and he enjoyed that, and he had, it was a great party. But then he was broke. It says that he had hit rock bottom, and we've talked about this over the weeks. He hit rock bottom, and it says that he worked as a pig, a servant for a pig, which would have been a slap in the face for a Jewish person. He worked as a pig farmer, a pig wrangler. And he says that he had to feed the pigs slop. And remember, if you were here that Wednesday night, we talked about what slop is. And it says that the prodigal son even got to the point where he had to eat the slop out of the trough with the pigs. He had hit rock bottom. And tonight we're going to pick up in Luke chapter 15, verses 17. It says, "But when he came to himself, he said, 'How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread, but I perish with hunger? I will arise, I will go to my father, and I will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants.' And it says he arose and came to the father." Now let's go ahead and finish our scripture for the night. "But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him, felt compassion, run, embraced him, and kissed him. And the son says, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven, and before you I am no longer worthy to even be called your son.' And he says, before the father said to his servants, when he says that, the father said to his servants, 'Bring quickly the best robe, put it on him. Bring a ring and put on his hand, and shoes on his feet, and bring the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat. For my son who was dead,'" I love this verse. This is one of my favorite verses. "For my son who was dead is alive again. He was lost and is found." And they began to celebrate. Now, guys, listen to me. The prodigal son had hit rock bottom. He was at rock bottom, and he began to negotiate with himself. Have you ever been there? Guys, I can tell you, I've got in trouble in school before. Progress report time was never a good time at my house, okay? When report cards came home, even in college at times, That was not a good time in my life. I can remember at school getting progress reports and getting ready to go home, and throughout the day, like first block, second block, whatever, I would get my progress report, and it may be a C, and there was a time it was even a D. And I remember going through the day and negotiating in my mind. I was putting my battle plan together through the day to what I was going to say and what excuse I was going to have for why my grades were so low. You know, I began to think, I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell Mom and Dad that my grade was low because the teacher was bad. My grade was low because there was a pretty girl in my class and I couldn't focus on the work. My grade was low because I'm too stupid to get it and I don't understand it. My grade was low because my buddy sat in there with me and me and him talked the whole time and I missed some stuff. Or I could say, hey, my grade was low because I missed a couple tests, but I'm going to make them up. And when I make them up, my grade will be higher. But guys, listen, I would rehearse that through the day. You've done the same thing to get out of trouble. And as I got to my parents, I would bring that progress report and I would immediately pick the best thing that was going to come to mind. Okay. The teacher was a dummy. Listen, she's a dummy. She don't know what she's doing. I mean, she put on the board the other day 2 plus 2 was 7. Has 2 plus 2 ever been 7? I don't think so. But that's what she put on the board. And she's teaching me math. That's why my math is low. Now, listen. My parents never bought that. They never bought that. I was always in trouble for that. But here the prodigal son, he's rationing. He's negotiating in his mind what I'm going to say. He comes to his senses and it says that he's going to go to the father and offer himself as a slave. I'm no longer even going to be his son. I'm going to be a slave for him because even a slave would be better than what I've got here. And he decides he's going to go home. Now, let's take another perspective. Don't you know all the way home, he was probably rehearsing it, like I said, in his mind. Okay, Dad, make me a servant. Dad, I got experience with cattle now. I've been feeding pigs. I can be I'll tend the camels. I'll tend the cows. I'll do something. He was probably negotiating. Now, let's kind of swap gears for a second, and let's look at the father. Notice what it says. It says that the father was on the porch. The father was on the porch and saw him from a long way off. You know what that says to me? That says that the father didn't just go out there that day and look for his son. The father didn't just kind of wander by that day and he was tired and, I think I'm going to sit on the porch for a while. Oh, look, there comes... No, that was not the case. I fully believe, and I believe it points in Scripture, that the father was eagerly, daily waiting and looking for the son to come home. He was looking for that son. Every day, I imagine maybe when they took lunch break or at the beginning of the day when breakfast was starting, he might have leaned up against the column up there and looked. Let's see if he's coming home. Well, he's not coming home. He probably checked at lunch while he was getting a lunch plate. He probably looked out the window, maybe of the house, and said, no, he's still not coming home. But daily, I imagine every day that father longed to see that son. Longed to see that son coming down that road. And finally, this one day happens. Here he comes. Here comes the prodigal son walking down the road. And it says when he was a long way, hey, he didn't even wait for him to come to the house. When the daddy saw him coming down the road, I can imagine he picked up his robe and he took off running down that old dirt road. And he embraced that son like he loved him with all his heart. Now keep in mind, this son would have been nasty. This son would have been probably have a bit just all scraggly, old nasty hair, kind of like what our hair looks like now during the quarantine. All just jacked up and just nasty, and he wouldn't have had shoes on his feet. He would have been barefooted and just disgusting. And it says the father ran out there and he embraced him and hugged him. Now that's a love. And notice the son immediately starts what he's rehearsed. Dad, I've sinned against heaven, I've sinned against you. I'm no longer worth... The daddy would not hear none of it. He didn't want to hear any of it. It says the daddy immediately asked to bring out the robe. Bring you the best robe. Get my son the best robe we got. Notice what he does here. He says, put a ring on his finger. Go get his ring and put on his finger. With that ring, in those times, that ring would have been a signet ring. And what that ring would have meant, they would have dipped that ring, any letter that they wrote, any kind of business transaction, anything like that, the authority of that father was in that ring. So if that father bought 100 cows from somebody, they would dip that signet ring in hot wax, and then they would stamp it down on the letter. And that signet ring meant, hey, this man bought these cows, that's his word. Okay? So when the father says, give him the signet ring, he's giving him the power, the authority of the kingdom there. He said, hey, he's going to put that ring on. He's going to be my son. He's going to have the power that I give him. He's back. Put shoes on his feet. And it says that they broke out the fatted calf. Now this calf would have been saved they would have been feeding this thing out, kind of like we do now when we're going to butcher a cow. You feed it for so many days grain and really just kind of getting fattened up. And this cow would have been saved for a celebration. This wouldn't have just been some, hey, it's Friday, let's grill steaks tonight. Hey, go kill the cow. That wouldn't have been what the case was. This cow was reserved for special occasions, for big celebrations. And he says, hey, go kill that cow we've been saving for all this time, because my son that was dead has been brought to life. He's back. What kind of love is that? And guys, as I read that passage, that is possibly one of my favorite passages in the New Testament. To see the love of the Father. It says he felt compassion for him. He felt compassion for him. Now, guys, I think about that. As you think about that passage, how many of us have strayed away in our walk? Guys, all of us have. There's been times in our life where we have absolutely just stunk it up in our Christian walk. There's times in our life where we have completely got away from what God wants us to do. We've run from God, and we want to get away from anything that he does. And you know what? You know what that passage tells me? That Jesus is still standing there waiting, just like that Father, watching for us. He's watching. He's waiting for us to come back because he sees us. He loves us. He has compassion for us. And it says he's waiting there for us to come back. And so many times in our Christian walk, we fail and we sin, and we don't even think we're worthy anymore. You know, Satan puts this guilt trip on us, and we're just like, man, I don't even know why I try to be a Christian anymore. I'm a sinner. I just fail all the time. I'm no good. I've run from God for so long. It's just not even worth it. Guys, that's the lie Satan wants you to believe. That's the lie the prodigal son believed. Hey, I'm going to go back, but I'm going to go back as a slave because I'm no longer my daddy's son. I'm no longer a child of my daddy, but I'm going to go back and I'm just going to be a slave this time. Guys, that's not the way Jesus works. When you are saved, when you ask Jesus to come into your life and he accepts you and you're accepted as you're his child. And there's nothing that can change that. The Bible tells us nothing can take us away from the love of the Lord, of God. And we're his child, and no matter where we go in life, Jesus is there, and he's waiting. He wants to love on us, and he wants to embrace us. He's got compassion for us. And there's nothing we can do that's going to make Jesus say, hey, you're no longer mine. And so many times, guys, as Christians walk around so defeated because they feel like this prodigal son, I've done too much. I have gone too far. I'm not worthy to be called a Christian anymore. I don't even know why I try anymore. Satan wants you to believe that lie. When the Father's sitting there waiting and says, child, come on back. Garrett, come back. I know you failed. I love you. I forgive you. Come on. If you just ask me to forgive you, I forgive you. Come back. I just want to embrace you. I want to give you the keys to the kingdom, but you got to come back. And guys, so many of us walk around defeated in our life. We walk around feeling like we are unworthy to come back to Christ. Come back. He's waiting. Man, the love of the Father there, I can't even imagine. You know, we do devotions at night with Griffin and Alex, and a lot of times we pile up in Mom and Daddy's bed, and we got a little devotion books. We got several of them. We got the Duck Dynasty one. We got the Louis Giglio one. You know, we got all these different devotion books. And other night we did a devotion book that talked about in Lamentations 3 that talks about the love of the Father that, nothing can take Jesus' love away, for us away. And, we talked to the boys and we said, no matter what you do in life, you may embarrass us. You may not even want to be our children anymore. But there's nothing you can do that will take away the fact that you are our sons and we love you. And guys, that same image is painted there by this story. The father, there's nothing. I mean, this son has wasted so much of the father's money and of his time. And probably took years off of his life from stress and all these different things. But here the father still says it had compassion for him. The father still loved him. The father still wanted him to be a son. And guys, I just want you to grasp that tonight. I want you to really grasp and understand what this passage is saying. Because I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know if you have struggled with pornography, if that just cripples your relationship with the Lord. If you have struggled with alcohol, if you've struggled with drugs, I don't know if you have, what it is. I mean, you name it. But so many times in our life we struggle with those things and we are defeated by it. And the Father's saying, come home. Lay that stuff down and come on. I want to love you. Just come home. And it says the Father has compassion for his Son. And look at the last thing it says. It talks about how for my son who was dead and is alive again, he was lost and now is found. And they begin to celebrate. Guys, when all this mess is over, when the virus is gone and we can all come back together, oh my gosh, I never knew how much I took Wednesdays and Sundays for granted. I miss you guys. I miss being together, and I miss, like I said earlier, I miss the hugs, and I miss the high fives, and I miss our conversation. I've been calling some of y'all. I call you on your phones, and just because I want to hear your voice, and I want to talk to you, see how your day's doing, see what you're doing. Some of y'all haven't answered, and you know who you are. You better answer when I call next time. I'm just kidding. But, I want to talk with you. But when all this is over, guys, I want us to come together. I don't care I don't know what you're carrying, what kind of burden you got, but just come together and we're going to celebrate what God's doing in our life. What's God done in your life? What's your story? That prodigal. Are you that story? Are you that prodigal son? Are you that child that has just run as far from God as you can possibly get and you're at the end of your rope? Are you that child? Are you that person? Well, come home. It doesn't matter how dirty you are. It doesn't matter that you don't have shoes. It doesn't matter what you look like. The Father is waiting. And it says he has compassion for you. Guys, I can't wait to celebrate together. So tonight I want you to think about this. We can't be together. We can't go to small group. But I want you to do this. Tonight I want you to think about what are some ways that you have seen the Father show compassion in your life? What are some of those ways? Text them to me. Hey, I would love to set up tonight and just text you back and forth. Text me. Let's talk about it. What are some ways the Father has showed compassion for you? What are some ways that you have been like the prodigal son? Let's talk about it, okay? Guys, like I told you before, I love you, and I miss you so much. I can't wait till we can get together. I got to hug one of the students today. We broke the rule, and we hugged, and it was great. And it was just a good hug. So I'm going to close this in prayer, and let's chat about this later. Lord, thank you for tonight. Thank you so much for this story, the prodigal son. Lord, thank you that we can see your heart, your compassion that you have for others. And Lord, I just pray that you would just teach each and every one of us that you're waiting there. Just come home. No matter how dirty, no matter whether we don't have shoes, no matter what, just come home. And you're waiting there with arms wide open. Lord, I just pray that you would work in our life. Show us the areas in our life that you have worked. Help us see those. Lord, I thank you for these students. Lord, I know I can't be here with them physically, but Lord, you know where they are. Just work in their lives as well. Lord, I thank you for all that you do. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey, a quick announcement, guys. As far as right now goes, I've been in communication with Church Camp. We are still green light as of right now. So if you signed up for camp, good deal. Hang on, we're waiting to see what happens. Also, the college mission trip to Chattanooga, same thing. We're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen and what we need to do. As of right now, it's still on. So if you're a college student and you're wanting to go on that trip, I'm telling you, it's going to be the cheapest mission trip you've ever been on, as far as your cost goes. So just be prepared for that, guys. I can't say it enough. I love you. I miss you. If you need me, please text me. Get the Zoom app. It's free. Okay? I look forward to working with you guys and talking with you. All right? See you later.